Hello, my name's Devin.
And I'm Darren.
And this is 10-Minute Tabletop, where we tell you the 3 biggest stories from the past week in tabletop so you can get back to stacking dice, making characters, and playing the game. We got some fun things to talk about. I'm always surprised that there's always at least 3 great news stories to talk about.
It's like they want us to do the show.
But we're going to start off with news with Paizo this week.
Yes.
Starfinder Enhanced Edition. This is really interesting. And we were talking a little bit before we started recording.
Mm-hmm.
This is Pathfinder did this with Unchained.
Yeah.
And there was like kind of an updated rules, updated core book.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the predecessor to Pathfinder 2e.
Yeah.
So Starfinder Enhanced Edition, this feels like they're ramping up for Starfinder 2nd Edition.
About 5 years after their first thing came out. And so it seems like the audience is ready. They're ready for a little bit of expansion. I think anyone knows with a beloved game, this is how you keep it fresh. This is how you kind of like bring in a new audience, update things, maybe fix a couple things. So
I think also it's important when, because there's a lot of like sci-fi games.
Yeah.
But I think Starfinder is... I think Paizo's really looking to have Starfinder be like the sci-fi game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when people think heroic high fantasy, D&D is like the first thing that comes to mind for a lot of people, not everyone. But I think, you know, they might be trying to position themselves to be that like sci-fi, like high sci-fi. What would be the parallel to like a D&D sci-fi, right? Like heroic sci-fi? That's kind of what it feels like.
What's the genre of Star Wars?
Yeah, I mean, that's science fantasy. Right? Or not science fiction.
Okay,
you know?
That's true.
It's like, but Starfinder has really been finding its footing the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they being able to do minis with WizKids, huge growth. Their organized play is growing.
Yeah.
And I think if they do a Starfinder 2, I think that's going to be a big push for them. And I think it's a chance to get like a lot of new people in the game.
Yeah.
This Enhanced Edition makes me feel like they are retooling rules to make it easier to onboard players, just like how 5th edition made it easier for new players to come to the game.
Right. So well on their way to their official 2nd edition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe 2nd edition. Maybe we'll see.
Possibly.
We'll see.
Coming soon.
Moving on to our next story. I'll let you lead this one off because I know that you are personally a big fan of this.
Yes. Matthew Mercer, you guys, is coming to DM for a season of Dimension 20. Huge news. Crazy huge news. It's not only for the tabletop RPG community, but for Dropout.
Yeah.
This is going to be huge for Dropout.
It's going to be massive. Well, here's the thing. You know, there is this part of me that wonders, like, how much do they share an audience? Mm-hmm. Because they have done a number of things together. Like, Brennan has been on Critical Role twice. Matthew has been on Dimension 23 times, but all his players. Mm-hmm. So I'm very... Matthew Mercer, all his players. And, of course, Brennan was a GM for Unlimited.
Yeah. I mean, I'm one of those people who's a dual audience member, but I do think there are a lot of people that kind of just have their one lane, you know, and just kind of need a reason to go over to another platform. I mean, we see this all the time with like streaming wars of different streaming services. Like you get the right show, you get the right this, it'll take that person who's kind of on the fence. It's like, you know what, maybe I will do like, I'll pay the month just to watch this one thing. And they're like, oh, I kind of like that. Maybe I'll watch
one episode of Game Changer and then they're hooked.
And then they're stuck. And so I think this will be a huge gateway for a lot of those Critical Role people who are diehard, who maybe just are purely Critical Role to come over to the Dropout family.
And I think, people are going to slowly fall in love with the rest of the Dimension 20 crew.
Yes.
And hopefully the rest of Dropout, because it is, again, like probably one of the best, like, new media companies and streaming platforms. I think this is gonna be huge. I'm really excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see their who the players are gonna be.
Yeah.
And I think we decided it's gonna be
yeah, that's what it seems like. It's gonna be another season, or maybe like a spinoff of Starstruck Odyssey because of the GM screen.
Yeah.
A lot of us
also the G in the coming soon was the same
yes, that as well.
So and here's the thing. I don't think a company like Dropout does things that are not as intentional as that.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I think they knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, like we'd be able to recognize it. But I do hope maybe some of like the Forever DMs get to play like Brennan and Abria and stuff like that. And I'm also excited to see like perhaps the fun side of Matt, because I feel like, that's in him, but he maybe doesn't get to explore that as much in Critical Role. And Dimension 20, if anything, is a little more fun, a little more comedic. And I think he'll have a lot of fun and do great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to our last story. Avatar.
Yeah.
The Legends RPG.
Sold now at Target.
At Target. This is, okay, so we all know Avatar, The Last Airbender is not Way of Water. Get that trash out. Sorry, James Cameron.
Slander.
Avatar Legends was one of the most successful tabletop RPG Kickstarters ever.
Yeah.
Like, I think $9 million is what they did.
Yeah.
So it was massive. Beloved Nickelodeon property. Nickelodeon and Target have a long relationship. I mean, they've had a licensing partnership for over, I think, probably 20 years. But this is licensed to Magpie Games, I believe.
Okay.
Avatar Legends, the RPG.
Yeah.
But of course, they have a really easy in for merchandising with Target.
Yeah.
But it's so important because this is a starter set.
Yeah. And you said the first one that's really, or the first one that you've seen that has been sold at Target other than D&D itself, which was a huge deal when it went into Target as well.
And there's tons of starter sets. There's this Zweihander starter set. There's the Call of Cthulhu starter set. There's the fantasy, was it Warhammer Fantasy? But I don't remember ever seeing those mentioned being sold at Target.
Yeah.
And why I think this is a big deal is this is a touch point for people to get into tabletop that isn't, I've heard of D&D, I'm playing D&D, and then I find another game. This is a wholly separate game, wholly separate system that has a huge base of people that would be interested that might pick it up, not even know what tabletop RPGs are.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are going to buy it strictly for the Avatar brand. The Avatar name recognition alone, I think, is strong enough, which is why Target is allowing it in the first place. I think you need a certain amount of clout to get on those Target shelves. But I don't know if anyone remembers this in the pandemic when they re-released Avatar on Netflix. It was all over social media, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram for months. Like people love Avatar. They love Avatar and would buy it just because it's Avatar. And I think it'll be a great entry into tabletop RPG games. And
leading up to 2024, before Avatar, The Last Airbender, the new series comes out.
Yes. Yeah. I think there's also probably that. Get that merchandising game unlocked. Don't let people forget. Don't let people forget about Avatar.
So anytime you see a starter set, like that is a huge push for like new player acquisition, being at Target, like how many times have you gone to Target and bought something that you weren't planning on buying?
That's literally that is what is associated with it. Target will tell you what you need. That's what everybody says. And it's true. Yeah. And the Target's reach is massive.
It is.
You know, like there's just no beating that. And so I think it's going to be huge.
But this also says a lot that if Target's going to continue to explore into tabletop RPGs, how much further are they going to explore? Are we going to see Call of Cthulhu there someday? Are we going to see Starfinder 2?
I mean, based on how a lot of the other larger brands, whether that be, you know, how we've talked about Marvel or Star Wars kind of coming into, or The Walking Dead coming into the tabletop RPG space, like I think this is the next thing people are setting their sights on. And Target is no different. So.
Yeah. So easy entry points for new players as Target expands into Avatar Legends RPG. That's our news.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for 10-minute tabletop news. My name's Devin.
And I'm Darren.
And if you want to support the show, head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Total Party Chill. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week.